Good morning, everyone. Hope you're doing well. It's match day. As I say, an hour away, and that's the build-up show. It's a few hours away, 9 hours away from kickoff for West Ham take on Lyon in France. Second leg, Europa League quarter-final cup tie. Gonzo, how are you doing?
I'm okay, actually. Thanks, mate. Not bad. So in a good mood, positive moods. Bit bubbly about it. Yeah, I'm all right. What about you?
Yeah, I'm feeling a bit sick, to be honest with you. Okay. I think the nerves are really getting the better of me for this game. I think it's just because it's such a massive occasion. I've got like heart, gut, and head. I know I've got head and heart going into a game. I'm like, head says we'll draw, heart says we'll win. I've got like head, heart, and gut for this one, which is unusual. That bit normally doesn't come into play, but that's a contributing factor to my feeling today.
Those are my favourite cuts of meat in the butcher's as well.
Yeah, happy days. Right, anyway, this show that we do, breakfast show, we do it every match day, at the morning of every match day, over on Patreon for mild addict and addicts. We're doing it today on YouTube to sort of just give you a little insight on what you can get if you fancy joining the Patreon. Links in description if you fancy. You get other stuff as well. And tomorrow morning we'll be live with our player rating series, discussing the game tonight and go in an in-depth discussion on each player. So if you want to know a little bit more, from £3.50 per month, do check out. But this series, the breakfast show, myself and Gonzo do every morning. Sometimes it's just me, sometimes it's just Gonzo, but usually it's both of us. It goes off at a massive tangent. It's about 15-20 minutes long. We'll discuss anything. Usually team news and stuff, but there is no team news, which happens sometimes. We'll just chat randomly and see what people are saying in live chat. But this is available for mild addicts and addicts only. So just be careful you go into Patreon. The supporter tier doesn't get that one, so just make sure you click on the right tier.
There's 4 different categories of patronage.
Yes. So thank you very much to everyone's support, but we thought I'd give you a little insight. So Gonzo, let's discuss Kurt Zouma a little bit. We know he is out. That's a blow. We know that. But more of the knock-on effect, sort of David Moyes has been presented with the questions about potentially playing Declan Rice centre-back this evening. He was a little bit non-committal, as you'd expect. Oh yeah, he's played there in the past, he can do a job there. Then when speaking about Diop, he said, oh yeah, he's not let us down in the past, he's played well recently. Would you be against playing Declan Rice centre-back, or are you open to that idea?
I don't think he's played there enough. As you know, I don't think Declan Rice would have been a midfielder if Moyes had stayed at the club.
Yeah.
I don't think that. And which is funny, isn't it, really? Because we are dealing with the manager in David Moyes who likes to change players' positions. So, but I think it's St. Pellegrini. So, in many respects, I think it's the biggest thing I'm most grateful for from Pellegrini. As there was obviously a lot wrong in terms of signings, but that bit of insight, that bit of footballing insight to say, no, this guy's not a central defender, he's a midfielder. Well, he wasn't wrong, was he? I think Moyes is somewhat screwed, to be honest with you, in terms of that being an option. I only mentioned what I mentioned to say I don't think Moyes would be adverse to play him at centre-back. The biggest block to play him at centre-back is that he hasn't got enough midfielders in the squad. And that's it. I mean, we're not conversation over. Clearly, we're going to have a conversation. But what would he do? He doesn't. He's not going to draft Crowin. He's not. I'm sorry, regardless of all the lovely things he says about Mark Noble, and they're all true. And we listened to your video yesterday, and if you listen to the podcast that video was based on, everything he was saying about Mark Noble was about leadership and the group and all of this sort of stuff. There wasn't a lot of talk in there about how competitive Mark Noble is right now as a central midfielder, either at a Premier League level, thereby you would assume not at the top end of European level either, which is what we're playing at. He's got no options. Rice has to play in midfield.
Yeah, I don't think he'll play him centre-back. I don't want to see him play centre-back either. The loss to him in midfield, I almost tried to convince myself that was a possibility. I think what Moyes is just doing is just not giving anything away to Lyon, really. If Moyes sits there and says, oh no, it's too important in midfield, straight away Lyon are like, well, we know where Declan Rice is playing. I think what he's trying to do is almost keep Lyon guessing a little bit. So, oh, Declan Rice might be centre-back. Oh, okay. But he's too crucial. The only reason that made me try and convince myself he could play centre-back, not that I want him to play there, is because of that risk of a yellow card. He's the only player that, should West Ham progress tonight, if he gets booked, he's suspended for the first leg of the semi-final. And he was definitely a bit reserved at the London Stadium last week. Nobody will convince me otherwise. There was a few tackles I felt Declan ducked out of because it would have ran a risk of a yellow card. If I get this wrong, I'm getting booked, kind of thing. And there was a couple of occasions where that one would then end on Belly. He had to let Belly run past him, because if he brought him down, which Declan would have usually done, he does not mind taking a yellow card, Rice. If he's got to stop a counter attack and take one, he will take one. But last week he had to let Belly run past him. So there was that sort of consideration. But given it's the second leg of the quarterfinal, I think if you were to present Declan Rice with a situation where West Ham go through, but you're suspended for the first semi-final, I think he'd take it. I think Declan Rice would take that all day long.
So do I, because those players do. I know everyone will say, oh, no, not Roy Keane again, but I make no apologies for it. I was a bit in awe of the way he led, really. Possibly his most famous game was a semi-final against Juventus, where this scenario happened, by the way, and he knew he would miss the final, and he did it. And not only did he do that, Juventus were on fire in that game. He actually then, for the remainder of the game, it was the most unselfish display I think I've ever seen in that sense, because he not only dragged his team, he cajoled his team, he encouraged his team, and dragged them to the final. And it was an immense display, not just of leadership, but footballing ability. All that stuff that you see Rice do, the driving runs, that just the stuff, grabbing everyone, encouraging everyone, come on, let's get there. It was, it wasn't, I don't even think they were getting medals at that point if you didn't play, by the way. They'll now dish out. Basically, if you farted in the pre-qualifying game, or whatever, you cleaned the boots of somebody that once used to know somebody that played for a club that represented the final, you'll get a medal. But back then, if you didn't play in a game, I don't think you got a medal. I might be wrong. Anyway, I think Rice would as well, because I think he's cut from the same sort of cloth, really.
Yeah. Right. Anyway, we want some good news to Gonzo. So while we're missing Kurt Zuma, this is the Lyon squad. This is the confirmed Lyon squad ahead of this evening. 2 notable absences. I'm not going to run through the team. I don't know half of them. But you'll notice their goalkeeper, Lopez, is missing. He went off at the weekend injured. Lopez, who is their number 1 keeper, is not in the squad for tonight. So they will have their backup goalkeeper in goal. And they're also missing Paqueta. Last week at the London Stadium, he sort of played in the number 10 role and was involved in quite a lot, looked quite good. So he is missing as well. However, Ndombele and Aouar are past fit for the squad this evening. There's doubts over them too, but they both start. So a bit of good news and bad news there, I guess, Gonzo. But the main thing is they're missing the number 1 keeper.
Yeah, I get that. Was the first thing I noticed when you put that up. Some eagle-eyed like that, obviously.
What's the goalie's name? No.
Cheeky.
Dembele?
I don't like to say. I don't like to disclose my information, Geo. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yes, he's obviously very handy. We know that about him, and he's got a different coloured top to the rest of the players in the Olympic Lyonnais team. No, I joke, but I don't know any bugger all about him. But I'm sure it is a loss losing their keeper. I can't help but think this is so much more about us than it is about them. I really do. 1 or 2 players out for them or whatever. I feel it's more about our attitude and our sharpness and our fitness and how we go into it. I think those things can swing and make a slight difference here or there. But I do believe if we've got any way through in this tie, it's not going to be because they're missing a player or their second keeper is not as good as their first keeper. I think it's because we're going to turn up as a force of nature. Nothing like the team played against Brentford. And with a sense of injustice, if you like, and go and just do them, basically, with a force of personality. I just feel this is a lot about us, really, and high tempo, and the attitude's really interesting. How we go into this, but are we going to keep it quiet in the first half? I know certainly you felt against Lyon that was Moyes' game plan, to try and keep it quiet for a bit. On reflection, after you'd seen it, I think you thought he was trying to keep it quiet, and he was going to expand a little bit more later on in the game. But the Cresswell sending off sort of thwarted his plans on that. I don't know if we can afford to do that.
But the pressure's on Lyon tonight, isn't it? They're at home. They're going to have their home fans screaming at them to get up the pitch. And the way that Lyon played last week, they were good, right? They were good. They passed the ball about nicely, but I think they were lacking a bit of cutting edge. And if they play like that, then you may find the home fans turn against them. I don't know enough about the Lyon crowd to suggest this, but all you have to do is go back to the last two nights of football. We've had two fantastic games to watch involving Madrid and English teams in the Champions League, where Real Madrid were 3-0 down. Their fans were really getting on their back a little bit, and then they got the goal, and then suddenly it turned in favour of Real Madrid. Atletico Madrid last night, again, what a cauldron of noise that was, but just shows the importance that atmosphere is going to have tonight. I think if we can keep it tight and frustrate Lyon, hopefully it'll frustrate the fans as well, and that sort of plays into our favour, because they can be a lot more volatile than English fans, the Spanish crowd and stuff like that. I know we're talking about French here, but the last two nights we've seen what the Spanish crowd can do. But last night, Atletico Madrid lost their heads completely against Man City.
How was it? I read. Well, I don't read about it. I heard it on the radio this morning.
Last 5-10 minutes, it kicked off, but the home fans were encouraging it. Simone's are standing there applauding, so all the home fans are clapping. And when they're clapping, it's trying to G the players up. The Atletico Madrid players just lost their heads completely. They were just kicking the living lumps out of City at the end. City were just getting bookings left, right, and centre to get over the line. And it was just one of them. It just went crazy for 10 minutes. I mean, as a neutral, I absolutely loved it. As a City fan, you'd have been sweating buckets. And as an Atletico Madrid fan, you've just been tearing chunks out your hair. But that's
did the referee lose control of the game, did he?
He didn't really have control from the start. He was letting a lot go. But it made for good viewing. But the problem is, then in the last 10 minutes, it just kicked off a little bit. And there was a tackle on Foden very early on in the first half. The boy come through the back of him, header, bang, right into the back of his head, and knocked him down. Blood coming out the back of his hand. Referee just gave a free kick, but there was no yellow card or nothing. And you could see the City players going, hang on a minute, is this what you're going to let go here kind of thing? So it just got worse and worse, and boom, it just exploded. So tonight, we might see a little bit of that. And I think, not that it'll play into the match, but obviously the Lyon have cancelled. They've stitched West Ham fans up, basically. You know, all the West Ham fans bought tickets in the home end, booked their travel and hotel, and then Monday, Tuesday said, we're going to refund your ticket, mate. There you go. They're cancelling your ticket. You're not getting in the home end. So everybody's got travel and hotels booked, and now no match tickets. So do you go, but you can't get near the stadium, or do you stay at home and lose out on 200 quid or something? So I think they've stitched us up a bit. Just quickly, thank you, Ray, for the £2. As West Ham win tonight, man statue. We'd rather you didn't do super chats today. Go on Patreon and spend that money you sign up to our Patreon, then you get content for your support. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Right, Gonzo, just quickly, how are you feeling? Nerves, excitement, confident?
Excitement, definitely excitement. A bit of nerves, not massively, but I've got a busy day. I purposely going to keep myself busy today, so you don't sort of clock watch. I got a feel it's such a weird game, and to be in this stage really, and it feels like such an occasion. I almost want content throughout the day, a dedicated radio channel just talk about this all day, but I think that probably wouldn't be very good for me. I think I need to probably switch off and just get to an hour and 5 minutes before kick off, and we'd join up then. Thank you. But I feel a sense of injustice, Geo. I'm looking forward to it and I'm excited, but I've also got the ump. I have, and I think a part of that is how we played against Brentford. A part of that, I've got the ump that the Zuma news is bad. But I've got the ump that of how Lyon played and how the ref played it. And I feel, I didn't know what happened there with Foden. I think if I was a Man City fan there, and I would feel a sense of injustice. I think, bear in mind what you've said, if I was a Man City fan this morning, I'd be feeling pretty bloody good about that. Do you know what I mean?
They did Atletico Madrid tactics to Atletico Madrid, Man City. Honestly, it was beautiful. As a neutral, it was beautiful to watch. City picked up between the first minute and the 85th minute. Man City had no yellow cards. From the 85th minute till full time, which was about 100 minutes, there was 10 minutes added on. City picked up 5 yellow cards.
Yeah,
but that's what we need. We need that tonight. We need, forgive my language, ultimate shithouse. That's what we need tonight. We need to do every player, bar Declan Rice, every player tonight can get yellow carded because they get wiped after tonight. Semi-final, everyone starts on no bookings. You can get booked in both semi-finals and not miss the final. That's the whole point of it. So we don't have a Roy Keane situation again. So tonight, bar Declan Rice, everybody can pick up a yellow card. So we are ahead. I want to see, not silly, not on the hour mark or Sufal getting booked with half an hour to go. Not that. With 10 minutes to go, we're winning. I want to see them all getting booked one by one for time wasting, for fouling, for everybody getting cramp and then almost fighting with the Lyon players, getting in their heads a little bit. Because Atletico Madrid lost the plot last night. Honestly, it was gone. Savage was pulling Jack Grealish's hair because Grealish just called him a C word. You can see the footage. Grealish just leans over to him and says, you're a... And so Savage pulls his hair. But it was just Grealish just getting in his head. That's one of the big players for Atletico Madrid. Grealish just done him. He wasn't even on the pitch, Grealish. He was a sub. Grealish just leaned over from the touchline and said,
Was Grealish right? Is Savage?
Yeah, he was right. But I want to see that from West Ham. We don't have... What we saw last night from City is probably something we're not really seeing enough from them in European competitions. That dark arts of football, if you like. We need a bit of that. We don't have the experience of it. Lyon do. We seen it last week, but we're winning. I want to see Antonio with cramp with 20 minutes to go. And when I say cramp, not actual cramp, I want him sat down going, excuse me, referee. Ben Rama, mate, can you come over and just hold my leg for me for a minute? I want dirty West Ham. I want to do what
would be dirty, wouldn't it? Ben Rama rubbing Antonio's leg.
It would be a bit naughty. I want to see us doing that tonight. I don't care how we win, just get through. Not diving, not that cheating. I think there's a difference between cheating and almost manipulating the rules, if you want to call it that.
Well, this is it, and this is why I don't feel they carry any integrity from the first leg. And people might say, well, it's football. Who cares about integrity? Well, I do when I'm on the receiving end of cheating. I don't like it. It gives me the ump, right? If I was David Moyes, and I have every admiration, I don't get it. I haven't got it in me. It's not part of my character. After all that cheating, David Moyes not only shook the Lyon manager's hand, but he did it warmly, right? I think I'll probably be more like Jack Grealish, if you know what I mean, on that one. Yeah, I would. I wouldn't say nice things to him. I'd be quite the opposite because I would feel that, hold on, you tried to cheat me. I'd be nice if someone was nice, but if I felt that he was trying to cheat me, I would. And it's not David Moyes. David Moyes won't do this, but I'd tell you what I would do, and I would say to the players, you don't kick that ball out for anything at all, ever. Right, I don't care. Do not kick the ball out, even if someone runs on the pitch. Just leave it all to the referee. And I would go to that manager before the game. I'd go up, I'd shake his hand, I'd probably squeeze it a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, all right, mate. But I'd probably say to him, mate, you know what I mean? Look, we tried to do the right things in the first leg. Quite frankly, you and your mob cheated, and you tried to pretend you had head injuries when you did it. I'm not kicking the ball out at all, and you'll deserve that. And we're not, you know what I mean? And I'd tell him. I would, and I'd send a message out. Do not take anything from this lot. Go out there and give it to them.
Say, oi, monsieur, je m'appelle David Moyes, West Ham est massive. I don't know how you say massive in French. That's as much as I've got, I'm afraid.
Or Scottish.
I know he says Scottish.
Massive.
Right.
Massive.
Anyway,
a Glasgow kiss. That's what he needs to give him. I tell you.
Anyway, two things. First of all, we'll be live tonight at 6:55 with the build-up show. We'll get straight into the lineups because they come out a little bit before Premier League's an hour before kick-off. The UEFA's. For some reason, the group stage is an hour and a half, but I'm noticing the knockouts, it's about an hour and 15 minutes. I don't know why there's a 15 minutes less of a window for announcing the lineups. But anyway, we'll be live at 6:55 this evening, so please do join us. Be much appreciated. And secondly, like I said, this is usually on Patreon. So Gonzo, you've got a little bit of a video coming up on Patreon today to get people in the mood. Sell it. Right, you've got 30 seconds to convince people to join Patreon. Go.
Well, listen, if you are a member of Patreon, don't go anywhere. Just stay on it because I'm going to upload the Lyon vlog now. It's Lyon from the first leg. This is myself and my...
Oh, no, it was Lyon.
No, Lyon, myself and my son and my old man and my nephew. We're there and we enjoy the game. So often we get frustrated about red cards and whatnot. But go and check it out. That's going to be on there for addicts and mild addicts. If you want to join Patreon, go and do it now. It's patreon.com/Hammers Chat. Discounts at the store, all that stuff that's behind here. You get discounts on that. You get loads of extra stuff. We do lots and lots of additional content. Most of all, it helps support Hammers Chat, particularly bearing in mind the electricity prices have gone up, and we can't afford to heat the house anymore, so it helps us.
You just reminded me. Even the patrons don't know this, but I'll tell them now. Next Wednesday, so
yes,
6 days' time, Wednesday night, we've got a Q&A for patrons with a former West Ham United scout. and you can ask him anything. And when I say anything, you can literally ask him anything. He's a really, really nice guy, Jed. I've done an interview with him. But if you've ever thought, I wish I could ask a West Ham scout something, here's your opportunity. He's popping on to do a live stream with the patrons, and you can just ask whatever you want, and he'll answer them. Bish bash bosh. And he's a West Ham fan, which makes it all that better.
Don't ask him about Ben Rama massaging Antonio's leg, though.
You could do. He was one that scouted Ben Rama for £2 million, and West Ham said no. David Sullivan said no, thank you. Don't want him for £2 million. It's not worth it. We'll pay $25 million in a couple of years' time.
Way to do it. It's the only way to go.
Yeah. Anyway, myself and Gonzo are going to disappear. We'll see you at 6:55 tonight. But if you're a patron, Gonzo will see you in a minute with the vlog. All the details in the description, pinned comments. Massive thank you to everybody that's a patron. Hopefully you've enjoyed this. A little bit of an insight on what goes on behind the paywall, essentially. But if you fancy joining us and supporting us, details below. But myself and Gonzo will be back tonight at 6:55. Catch you in a bit.